Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is actually kind of a part two of an interview I'm doing with John Dexter, who is the creator of Alpha Dogs. It's a pretty cool comic based on his love of dogs, really, and these kind of pit bulls that are misunderstood, like often a misunderstood breed, but in this you can see their loyalties and their good things and bad things about the dogs as well. So a very interesting story. We're going to get into this second part of the interview with John, and let's get right into it. So how are you doing?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it was was it a year ago that we talked last?
Yeah, I believe so. I think I was promoting Alpha Dogs issue 1, and now I'm up to 4 issues. The Kickstarter launches March 5th for Alpha Dogs, the trade paperback. It collects the first 4 issues plus an all-new bonus story to get readers who have already been loyal enough to back support the first 4 issues and get them in as well. It's an all-new bonus story that comes with the first 4 issues. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's been fun, and the cool part is if people haven't never heard of Alpha Dogs or anything, it's a great place to jump in because issue 1 starts out with this mystery of our superhero dog who begins seemingly dead on this beach. He's been shot up and he can regenerate from any wound, and at the end of the story, the 4th issue, we find out how he ended up there and solve that mystery. So it's a great jumping off point for someone who's never heard of it, never read it before. But yeah, it's a fun series. It's inspired by my own pit bull mix. We had lived in this town that had outlawed pit bulls, and we had our pitty named Pig, who is taken after. You can see the similarities of him and Buck. And when you go to the Kickstarter, you can see pictures of my pig dog. Yeah. And Buck, and see the similarities. So the town had outlawed pit bulls, so we had the choice to move or get rid of the dog. So of course we moved, and that began the genesis of creating this story about this dog that's feared by the public because of his breed and size, but actually has a huge heart.
Yeah. I mean, that comes out in the story. I mean, but in a way, one thing that I've noticed in the story is not all the pit bulls are good.
No,
they're not all good, but but the main ones are, obviously, right. And I like the fact that one thing I find with a lot of modern storytelling is you get one voice across all the characters. With your story, I really do feel like each dog has its own personality. One is a bit naive, one's a bit more old and very jaded.
Yes, that was perfect.
And one's more like the other main dog is kind of like evil. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. You have 2 pit bulls, Buck, who is just in love with his owner like any dog. He thinks his owner thinks the world of her. And then you have the older pit bull named Cyrus. He's, as you said, jaded. He's lived a long life and he's seen how humans really are. And he knows Ina for much longer than Buck. And so he has always had a love-hate relationship with her. The other dog is actually a Presa Canero, the big villain dog, Monto. He's a Presa Canero. Those are like the scariest dogs I wanted the scariest dog as I could come up with.
There are different.
Yeah, the one that grows. No, the one that gets huge. Yeah.
It's like he's like almost as big as a car. He looks like he's a big dog. I mean,
he can grow 4 times the size.
Oh wow. Okay, I think the dynamics of the dogs is really interesting, and I like the fact that you stay true to the concept that dogs can understand each other and can communicate, but there's still that barrier between communication between the dogs and the people. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, oh, hey, this guy's evil that you're hanging out with. You can't just do that. You got to, how the dogs kind of relate the story that they're trying to tell to the owners is a little bit challenging, which is
it is. And I could have them talk to the owners, but then it would be really hokey. I mean, it's already a little suspension disbelief already with these dogs that, have these superpowers. Each dog has their individual ability. Buck and Cyrus, the pit bulls, they can heal from any wound. They're smart enough to understand human speech, and they have a heightened strength. And they've been on the run with their owner from these mercenaries that have been attempting to kidnap the dogs to manipulate their powers. Their owner, who's lived this very, sheltered life and has protected the dogs her whole life, finally kind of, I don't want to say can't take it anymore, but she longs for human companionship. And she's manipulated by this individual named Salem, our bad guy of the series.
The guy that I said looks like Riker from Star Trek.
Yeah. yeah.
Sorry,
I get it.
I just think he looks like Riker from Star Trek.
Well, it's the beard. It's the beard.
It's the beard. It's the beard. I'm just saying he looks. I'm not saying he is personality-wise. It's just the look. It's the beard. It's something about the beard. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, good.
I'll give you that one.
Okay, cool.
So she is manipulated by him, and she divulges the dog's secrets of their powers. But little does she know that he already knows of the dog's abilities and has created this formula that once in possession of the dog's blood, he can create his own dogs with power. So we have this dog, of course, Monto, who's our bad dog of the series, can grow to this huge hulking size. He can eat Cujo for lunch. And then you have these other dogs that as the series goes, we find out their abilities. I'm a big proponent of show, don't tell. So you don't know the dog's abilities, their powers, until they actually use them in the series. So it's a lot of fun. There's some really cool artwork. I'm going to show you some. This is from issue 1. The art
I'll make it big so you can start.
Is terrific. Here's some of the pages. This is when Buck decides he's going to stop Salem from talking to his owner. So yeah, here's some more artwork. This is things to come, and you see the Black Rock mercenaries, and we have some scenes with puppy Buck that she's been protecting. So we get a sense that she's been protecting him for his whole life. So it's a fun series. It's exciting. If you like adventure stories with a heart, and if you're a dog lover, then you definitely I think would enjoy the series. It's only grown. Each Kickstarter that I've done, I've gotten more and more backers. So it's a little. Most people obviously don't know me or my comics because it's just me doing it for now until I pursue a publisher. But I like doing my own thing for now and creating these comics, and people have really responded to them.
One question I have is actually there's been like a couple since you've published actually. There's been a few dog-related things that have actually done really well, like Animal Pound, and I forgot the other one. Something else. It was kind of almost like an alpha doggy kind of name. I forgot what the name it was, but there's 2 that I can think of, and also Stray Dogs as well.
Oh yeah, so Stray Dogs came before. I was writing
before.
Yeah, Alpha Dogs actually began about 5. It's been 7 years probably now when I first conceived of Alpha Dogs. It's been that long, and so it just took a long time. You fleshing out a story. It's a long. It's all said and done. Alpha Dogs probably be about 40 to 50 issues. So I had written those all out, and for the most part. And
but my question is with those other ones actually doing really well. Do you find that people are looking for other titles, or that there's opportunities for your comic to do better? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Stray Dogs really took the indie community by storm. It was the number 1 selling comic of I say 2002 probably now, and then they did a sequel, and it might have been 2023, and it was a huge hit. So I was able to kind of piggyback off of those Facebook sites and promote Alpha Dogs, and it helped. It's as long as no stories are similar to mine. That's the only thing that would worry me. But so far, no. Alpha Dogs is very unique.
It's a different storytelling style that you have.
Stray Dogs was actually a great comic. I see they're doing another one called Feral, which is cats now. So
yes.
We'll see how that goes. I will definitely have to pick that up. Trish Forstner, actually the artist for Stray Dogs, when I first did my campaigns before she really blew up, she did covers, sketch covers, and actually there's one behind me right now. I'll grab it for you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, grab it.
of course, I offered them in the campaign, and of course, well, I had to pick one up. So this is Trish's cover sketch
I mean,
for.
that's really good.
It is. It's awesome. I got another one too of Buck as a pup. She did for Alpha Dogs too. So I was hoping to get her to do more for the
but
next
she's probably
Kickstarter.
pretty busy right now.
Oh
I
yeah,
imagine.
she's very busy. She's very busy, but she was kind enough to lend her support in the comic. So, and she was a backer too of issue 2 and 1. So
Oh, that's really good. That's
yeah,
really cool.
she's a great lady. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's way too busy to do sketch covers for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, that's cool. So did you do like for your trade paperback? Are you doing like multiple covers or like?
For the trade paperback, there'll be a lot of people. It's probably my most popular cover. It's my Star Wars cover. That's right.
Oh yes, I remember.
This is my
Actually, I really
office.
like the Star Wars one.
Yeah, this is my. So this will be an option. This has been probably my most popular cover.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the issue 4, and then there's going to be a Kickstarter exclusive cover as well. That looks really great. I'm really excited about it. It's already drawn. It's just got to be colored, so that's why I'm not showing it yet. So that's not.
Okay.
It'll be done before the Kickstarter launches. He's almost finished with it. So and I want to show it off when the Kickstarter launches to kind of get people excited for this all new cover. So yeah, the Star Wars cover has been probably my most popular cover. So I wanted to.
It's a great homage. It is a great homage.
Yeah, it is.
Just for people watching, all the links to his Kickstarter are in the description, so you can go over to his Kickstarter and support him. Also, and check out all the covers. And I think you also put up a brief, like a few page thing that they can look at, so that they get a sense of what the comic's about.
Yeah.
So how have you found Kickstarter as a platform to promote your book?
It's been great. They do their heads and tails above everybody else because they actually help promote the Kickstarter, your comic and stuff, where a lot of people like Indiegogo or some other ones, you put it on there and that's the end of it. Where Kickstarter does a good job of emailing backers or backers. I think that if you back somebody, they say, well, this person who you back, they back this comic. So it's a great platform.
They kind of encourage you to back a few more.
Yeah. My only complaint is that they don't take the money till the end of the campaign. And while it has its good and its bad, if you don't, if it's Friday, if it's Thursday, you don't get paid till Friday, and you don't want to take the money out. It's good, but then what happens is towards the end of the campaign, you get people dropping when they say, "Oh, this bill is going to be due." So that's the only drawback of it.
But I didn't realize people actually would unsubscribe or not.
Unsubscribe, but unpledge. Yeah, that happens quite a bit. It does, especially if it's a really high tier. Because most people aren't going to back out for $7. If it's a $50, $35, that's the ones that usually people back out. I've been lucky enough that it hasn't happened too bad. My last Kickstarter, I only lost one backer at the very end of it. But, obviously towards the last week, you'll lose backers. But at the very end, I had only lost one for my Dinosaur Detective issue 3, which is much different than Alpha Dogs, but it's still just as much of an original fun comic. That's a supernatural noir crime mystery comic series that's about this detective who is on the trail of a serial killer. If you like Stephen King's It or True Detective or LA Confidential, you probably like that series. And you can buy that on the Kickstarter as well. That's really kind of had a groundswell as well. It started out, I think the issue 1 only had 88 backers, and then by issue 3, I had 100 backers. So it's grown slowly, but as long as you see growth, because with Kickstarter, I get about 55% people return, which is actually, you wouldn't think, but actually is a pretty good number. Anything 50% of returning backers is really good.
That's good. I mean, that means that they like it and they're coming back to read more. So Do you find like how many backers does it take to really kind of make it so that it breaks even and you can put out the next issue?
Oh, I don't think anybody hardly breaks even. I haven't broke even yet. It's but I go to Comic Cons, in my comics store in a few comic shops in my home state of Michigan. I just got accepted actually yesterday to this really big comic book store in Michigan. It's been my big get for a year now, and they've taken my comics. So, it's you got to start from the ground up, and I started doing this 2022 was when I released Alpha
Yeah.
Dogs 1. And then
So
that was
I
my only
mean, it's
comic
only
for that
2 years, and it's growing each time. So it's yeah.
yeah. Most people that are, that you see that have 2, 3, 400 backers, those are guys that have done web comics for years, and have done comics for a very, very long time. Where, I've been writing screenplays mostly for most of my years. I was a comic book fan, but it wasn't till Alpha Dogs when I thought this would work much better as a comic series than a screenplay that I
Mhm.
decided to really delve into it. Now I did do a comic book about 15 years ago that nobody's ever heard of that I think I
Oh, what
sold
was
about like
that?
6 copies. It was called Steelhawk. It was a fun comic, but it was like 15 years ago. It was probably 12 years ago. I had no idea really what I was doing, and that
Mhm.
um, you know
And you self-published that as well, or?
correct. Yeah, I self-published it, and
And that was before Kickstarter probably was around to really give you the
oh
support.
yeah, it was before Kickstarter. I went to one comic book convention to sell it, and didn't do that great, and I kind of just threw it by the wayside and said, "Well, what am I
Oh,
doing
it
here?"
happens.
So yeah.
So
You gotta start somewhere.
how many issues? Like I know, like you're publishing it based on like you got 4 issues right now, but how many issues have you actually planned out or written or at?
Yeah, so with Alpha Dogs, the first story arc is going to be 9 issues, I think, maybe 10, if I really want to. But this first story arc is going to be about 9 or 10 issues for Alpha Dogs. Now, the whole series is written out for the most part in it's about a 200-page synopsis, and
Oh
then
wow.
issue 1 was written um, out a long time ago, many years ago when I first started doing it, because I was at the beginning I was going to try to send it to Image and some other publishers. So I had 5 pages done, and then COVID hit, and that put
Okay.
us everything was in lockdown. And that's when I heard of Kickstarter, and I thought, well, this is a great way to get my
Great venue,
comic
yeah.
made. And it was my first Kickstarter, really doing what I was doing. I'm sure like anybody else would tell you, but it got funded, and so basically I just take whatever I made off that last Kickstarter and roll it into the next one. So
Hmm.
it's been quite the journey. It's a little stressful because it's a very expensive venture, but you want to have quality. So I use very good paper, high commodity paper, and covers. Everything's first class. As you can see, the covers are, I mean, I put
Yeah, I
up
mean
against
it's
Marvel or DC any day of the week. So
yeah. No, I mean the art is good and the story writing is good. So I mean, well, I would say it's better than most of the stuff that's coming out nowadays. But
well, thanks. Yeah, I've
yeah.
got a lot of good reviews from people.
So yeah, I mean most of the stuff nowadays, I don't know, it's pretty iffy. But
Yeah.
but
I'm a big proponent of originality. I don't want to write something
yeah.
less, because you're putting your own money out there. And so I work, pretty tirelessly on my scripts to get those as good as I can. Original. I'm a big fan of original stories. So
Yeah.
you're not going to see a lot of Alpha Dogs or my other series, Dexter Detective, on the shelf. It's a very original entity that people have been enjoying.
Now, have you reached out to any of the bigger publishers to see if they might be interested? And
Yeah,
uh, you know,
actually, I think it's been going on 2 weeks. I sent out to Image,
I was
and
thinking Image would be the perfect one for you. I mean,
yeah. So a few weeks ago, I sent out to Image finally because I wanted enough body of work before I attempted to go after a publisher. I
mhm.
reached out to one publisher, and they were like, you know what, we're barely making our money as it is. So
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know,
it's hard times right now. It's
it
like
is. It's very hard times because of Kickstarter and the advent of all these platforms. It's really taken money away from the publishers,
But that's because they're not producing good books. If they produce good books, they could do well.
Yeah, yeah,
Is my response to them. But
yeah. I think Image is, it seems like Image is the only one that I can think of, the big comic book. And I don't know about Scout,
yeah,
or some of these other ones. I just
Scout
don't
is
really know
another
them.
one I'd say is taking some risks and trying to do
Yeah,
some unique stuff. But I think Image is like Stray Dogs is Image.
yeah. And Ed
Uh,
Brubaker, he goes to Image.
yeah, yeah.
I think Brian K. Vaughan is still Vertigo. I can't tell you for sure, but
Is he Vertigo? I thought he was with Image as well. I thought he did a few
is he with
things.
Image? I don't. I've got Saga right here. So I just finished
But
Saga.
Saga, I think Saga is through Image. Isn't it?
Is it
Image?
okay? Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm
I
not
thought
sure.
I think
People
he
will tell me in
maybe
the
started
comments
out with.
below. Yeah, because Saga was great.
I'll tell you. I can tell you in a minute here because I'm actually my computer stand is on Saga, the omnibus. So
Okay.
it is produced by Image Comics. You're right.
That's what I thought. I was like, am I having like a? I
Yeah.
thought so.
So
And I
Image there.
think
They're
Paper
putting
Girls
out.
was also. I think Paper Girls was, and also Why the X-Men. Why the Last
Why the
Man.
Last Man? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Those were all through Image, I believe.
yeah. And so they're just punching out great stuff. I mean, actually, those are probably currently my two favorite writers,
But
Brian K. Vaughan and Ed Brubaker.
yeah, and I think both. I mean, so my point is, I think Image is willing to take risks on good
Mm-hmm.
writing. I see that as a thing. Um, Speaking about your book and Image and writing, what about the other side? How did you get your artist, or you? It's not you that does the art, right? You have an artist that
I
works with you.
wish. Yeah, yeah. I
So
wish I
how
was
did
that
you
talented.
find that
Saved me
artist?
a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just did a cold call on Facebook, a writer seeking artist, and
okay,
I got inundated, deluged with different artists, and Stone Tower Studios out of Argentina. They were heads, I mean, they were just so incredible. And because they're out of Argentina, the dollar goes further. So
yes,
I was able to get them at a reasonable rate where, I'd never be able to afford it. An American comic book artist, unless he was that great. But these guys are, as you can see,
well,
the comics top notch.
so I mean, one thing that I have to comment is like I'd be very nervous. Like you put out a script and you got to get that artist to understand visually what that
Mm-hmm.
script should look like.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? Like getting them to understand and
Actually,
translate it.
yeah, luckily, the production manager, Stone Tower Studios, Lucas Chirita, he speaks perfect English.
Mhm.
Sometimes he corrects my mistakes in my script. So, what does
Okay,
that tell
cool.
you? So he will translate to the artists what I
Mhm.
want, and it's worked out pretty good. I mean, there's been a few times, but they give me the sketches, and then I, tweak it a little
Correct.
bit
Yeah, yeah.
if needs be. So, it's worked out great. And I try not to get too hands on because I think a comic like a movie should be a collaboration, and
Yeah,
they'll
I was
have
wondering about
ideas of
that
how
side.
it's, yeah.
So have you found that you've been getting a little bit inspiration from them in terms of how to go with some certain scenes in the comic, or
No, not really. I just, if they'll present something that I didn't look at a certain way, and I'll say, oh wow, that's actually better than what I came up with. There's a great a great scene, a panel, and Dexter Detective where this guy is possessed, and well, it's going to be confusing if I don't grab the comic, but so
show the comic, show the comic.
you can edit this out. So
No, it's okay. Like I leave all the warts and stuff in these things, but I have a very patient audience for the most part.
good.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm gonna make you big so you can show it.
yeah, that's actually issue 3. I'm sorry.
Okay. So this is your Alpha Dog's office, I can see.
Yeah, it's my comic book office. It's I've got a lot of stuff. This is the cover for issue 3, one of the variant covers.
That
So you
looks
can
really
see
cool.
even Dexter Detective is just the artwork is amazing. But I had a transition between the past and the present. So in Dime Store Detective, in the present, it's in color. And then when we flash back to 1981, as the series goes back and forth from the present to 1981, it's in black and white to help make it easier for people
to know whether it's in the future or in the past, or current and
past. Yeah, exactly. You know, you should. I'm a big proponent of the keep it simple. So I had a transition from black and white to color, and he did a perfect transition. You know, when I had drawn it, he was looking at the camera basically, and he did a great transition. I feel, explaining, he's talking about his uncle and being possessed by this evil entity, and the transition is just really, I feel really cool how it's, you know,
it's his
same
face
position, you're sitting in the car. So
yeah, it's cool.
So there'll be certainly things they do and come up with that I didn't envision for the panel, that almost everything they've done has made it better. So, which is what you want in an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to be able to trust the artist's vision and certain about how they convey your story, right? So that's pretty cool. And what was I gonna say? So this is you got 4 issues out. This is your trade paperback. My
first trade paperback.
First trade paperback. What made you want to release it as a trade paperback?
Well, the first 4 issues kind of complete the first story arc. As I said, you start out with this mystery of how Buck. We open up.
Yeah, how to get the powers and.
Page 1, you know, he ends up seemingly, which has caused some people.
Why is he on the beach? Yeah, why is he bleeding
seemingly
out?
dead? And then at the end of issue 4, we find out who shot him and how he ends up there. So it's just a great first story arc, and so I wanted to put it all together. And then, as I said, there's a bonus story in there that is a flashback to when Buck is just a 2-year-old pup, and it's a lot of fun. That their owner has been captured by BlackRock mercenaries, and the dogs have to free her. So it's a very exciting story. It moves at a really good clip. I'm a big proponent in as I said, showing, don't telling. So I don't have voiceover, I don't have narration. I think it's important to let the images tell the story, and that's what I've done with my comic books.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to write. Keeps people interested. And I think one thing that I'd also say is you have a tendency in the stories, in the ones I read, I should say, of hinting at some things, like suggesting that there's a bigger story, that a bigger question that has to be answered. Which is always good. I think there's always that hook that you need, right?
I love the mystery box, as J.J. Abrams calls it, where you have this mystery, and then before you reveal it, you have this other mystery, and it kind of keeps the story moving and threading along. I've had a lot of people get mad at me because, like, oh my God, you ended on this amazing cliffhanger, and now I got to wait for the next one. But I love cliffhangers. I'm a big fan of cliffhangers. So pretty much every comic I've done, I've had a pretty cool cliffhanger at the end. If issue 2 that you just read, we think we're in this office, and we pull back and find out that we're on this actually island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, nowhere, where the mercenaries actually live, which hence the name is where BlackRock comes from, because they live on a black rock, this volcano. Then I found out, well, there's this black rock, this whole I think it's like a banking system or something. BlackRock.
BlackRock. It's
so I was like, oh shoot, well, hell with that. I'm still gonna keep the name. Who cares?
Now they're gonna go after you or something.
I know that's actually pretty scary.
They're like I think they own like $1 trillion in assets or something.
Yeah, I think they own more land than anybody. In America.
Something crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Pretty ridiculous.
But just get them to back your thing, and you make BlackRock's actually a really good company.
That's like a pocket change to them.
Yeah, exactly. What else? I always feel like, like with these second interviews, it's always a little harder for me because I
Yeah,
always feel like what haven't I asked in the first interview that I can ask in this one,
that's
and
been a whole year. Probably nobody remembers anyway.
yeah, so one of the things that I'm actually in the process of producing my own comic, and
Nice,
I would like
nice.
to ask
Is it
your
a guy
advice.
in a ninja white ninja outfit?
What?
Is it a guy in a white karate outfit? I
No,
seen
no,
your
no, no. You
your
saw that?
karate. They cracked me up.
As
I
you
love
just
that.
think so. Okay, so no, it was it's about it's more of a pinup kind of style
Oh,
like
cool, cool.
book. And so what I'm going to ask you is just what your advice is for people that haven't done it. This is their first kick at the can of maybe doing Kickstarter or some kind of
Mhm.
self-publishing. Any advice or things that you've learned along the way of doing this?
Well, the nice thing about I bet you do really well because you already have a built-in audience, and that
Well,
was
I'm gonna leverage my audience. You guys are
yeah, you
watching
have to.
this. I'm gonna leverage you guys. Okay, so you guys got to support me. but
Yeah,
but I'd love to hear some extra advice on.
yeah. So I think what helps is just at least, especially your first with 3 months in advance, start pushing it and showing images and
Mhm.
offering. I think when I did issue 2, I offered a free PDF image of unseen cover of alpha dogs for an email. Your email list that's your bread and butter is getting that
Yeah.
email list. I'm sure you already know.
And do you do much with Instagram lists? Like try to use Instagram as another method
Yeah,
to.
well, I promote, especially when you're doing a Kickstarter, I promote almost every single day,
Hmm.
inundating people with to where they probably want to kill me.
Hmm.
Or just press to ignore is I'm on Instagram, Kickstarter, and Twitter. Well, X now, but
Yeah, whatever
just
it's called.
promoting and showing images and trying that way. And then once you get a one or two, even one done to start hitting the cons and building your email list. That's what I've been doing.
Hmm.
And my new thing now that I've been getting into for 2024, I went to this. It was called Blood Bash. It was little. It's a horror film fest that they
Hmm.
had.
Sounds like it. I mean, Blood Bash. It sounds kind of.
Yeah, and it was small, but I did really well there. And so I started thinking about not just going to comic book conventions because there you're battling with people that are selling comics. There's only so much money to go around. And so I
Hmm.
signed up for this called Frankenfest. They do comics too, but it's kind of a horror convention. And I've got my horror thriller. I mean, it's more of a
Yeah,
thriller,
that
little
more
horror.
fits into the yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to get into this dog shows too. So
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
what I was
trying to do
thinking. You
now,
could do well with the dog
yeah,
shows, right?
I've been trying to find some, and it's been actually a lot tougher. There's not too many dog shows, and I have to take into account, hotels. So I try not to go over more than 2 hours if possible to go to a con or something, just because I don't want to get a hotel room. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
extra. But
Because
even
it
if it's
just
farther away,
becomes yeah.
yeah. But things that aren't combo conventions, like I said, the Horror Fest, the Frankenfest, it might be a longer drive, but it's just a 1 day thing, so you don't have to get a
Mhm.
hotel. So that's what I've been kind of researching to get into. But like I said, I went to this little, and the tables were cheap. Like some of these cons are really expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
I paid like $60 for a table at this horror show, and
That's
I film
so
fest
great.
for horror. I sold 33 comics, so
So
I've
yeah, more than
made
made up
plenty
for
more.
the cost. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I'm into. There's less competition, but obviously you want something that kind of pertains to your material of what you're writing. So that might be something
Mhm.
to get into. It's going to be exciting, I think, this year to really kind of play that now and see how I do there. But so far, so good.
Okay. And so any advice in terms of mistakes? Like, you always get good and the bad. So
Yeah.
what were some of your pitfalls or things that you would recommend avoiding?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest, like I was saying, is promotion. to get out, like I said, 3 months ahead and start promoting. In with your Kickstarter page, if you end up doing a Kickstarter for it, you don't have to have the whole Kickstarter done to start getting your signups, because Kickstarter works on an algorithm. So if you're promoting your page before the Kickstarter, like right now, I've got the sign up. You hit the notify me, and then the person's notified when you launch. So if you want to have a lot of people that have already signed
on
up,
that launch date as
yeah,
well.
because yep. So right now I have the sign up going on right now for Alpha Dogs, the trade paperback, March 5th. And then when you launch, you want to have a big showing, because that
That's why I
helps.
was wondering if you do a launch party or something kind of to
Yeah,
get like a whole bunch of people at once.
exactly. So a launch party is important. So I'm going to be on what's Comic Madness's launch party. I'll be on his show for the launch of Alpha Dogs at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You have a big audience, so you'll have a pretty good launch party, and I'm sure you'll do really well.
Yeah, I'll do like some live YouTube event or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And of course, you want to have stretch goals. I'm not a fan of stretch goals. I just want the comic. I don't care about all the little stickers and stuff. But there are people
the people
that do
like people like them, yeah.
So I have stretch goals for Alpha Dogs. I have a really cool sticker that's actually from the Star Wars cover. The sticker that's going to be a stretch goal. Bookmarks. You want it really cheap, because obviously it's about the bottom line. Stickers are dirt cheap to make.
Yeah.
So and then you can sometimes use your cover and do a naked cover. In other words, you don't have the lettering in it.
So the sketch variant or something, right?
Yeah, something that you've already done, or that's not going to cost, because obviously everything comes out of your bottom line.
Did you ever think of doing like a thing where if people like the artist that you're using, where they can do like an original sketch, and you can charge like some crazy amount for that original sketch?
I'd love to do that, but they're out of Argentina, and shipping is just insanely expensive.
It would be insane.
Yeah. So I much as I'd love to do that, it's just not.
It's not feasible.
Probably. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be, but it'd be great. I'd love to, because he's terrific. But unless I got a lot of people that hit back that, I don't know if I'd be able to really do it. But it's a great idea. Or if you get an American artist to, like I did with Trish Forstner, to do sketch covers, somebody that's kind of a name that will split the cost.
Revenue.
Yeah, so that'd be somebody. It's a little late for that for Alpha Dogs, because I actually reached out to one artist to do it, and I didn't hear back from them. But by now the Kickstarter's almost ready to launch, so I can't add that in. But I might do something like that with Dexter Detective, because that comic is really getting more and more popular as it goes. I've got a lot of very positive reviews. You can go on YouTube, and there's reviews for Dexter Detective and Alpha Dogs out there that you can watch and decide for yourself. Cool. I can tell you they're all really good reviews, and they're not friends of mine. They're just independent people that have reviewed it. Channel. Cool. So far so good. No bad reviews yet.
So how about where do you get the books printed?
I'm so lucky. I get them printed from Comics Wellspring. Now they do orders around the world. They literally an hour away from me. So I save on over $200 just driving over there. I mean, it's just literally a coincidence, because I was going to have them anyway. And then when I saw how close they were, I was like, oh my gosh, you can't beat that.
That's very nice. Yeah, that's very lucky.
Very nice.
Because shipping all the books could be insane.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, it was like $240 to have them shipped to my house. And they're an hour away. So I was able to drive over there, but I can imagine if I lived, in a different state. I mean, if you lived in California, it wouldn't even be cost feasible to do it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you have to manually ship out to all the people that back you, right?
Yeah, yeah, I ship them all. I mean, it'd be nice to pay someone else to do it, but I don't make enough. I don't make, yeah, like I said, I've yet to make a profit from this, but I'm a firm believer. If you have the talent and you have the passion, the money will come eventually. It
Yeah.
might be 10 years, 5 years, 2 years. You know, it
It's,
could be these guys that dead and then are famous. you know.
yeah, I mean, for me, like my goal with the comic that I'm planning on doing is just to make enough money to do it again.
Yes. Yep.
And if I can do that, then I'm happy because
Yeah.
I always want to have my own comic, and I think it's a
Oh
really
yeah.
cool thing. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm like anyone that has done it, I'm impressed. I'm always impressed that people take that risk and uh, ambitious enough to actually put out a comic. And I mean, you have gone a little bit further than that. You're promoting it. You're actually willing to actually go drive around to like the different places to promote the book, and I think that's very admirable. So
Yeah, yeah. I like ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer. So I mean, this is it's a lot of it's a lot of hard work. I mean, a Kickstarter. If you are you going to run a Kickstarter?
yeah, I'm going to do Kickstarter as well. I'm
You're
actually teaming up with a guy that he's been doing a lot of Kickstarters,
oh, cool, cool.
so I'm going to get his audience as well.
Yes, that's
So, and
very good.
his things usually have about 200 to 300 backers.
Oh
Like,
wow.
so I'll just
Huge.
leverage those backers and then get my backers as well.
Yeah,
So,
that's a
um,
great idea. That's nice of them.
yeah. So yeah, we're partnering on it. So splitting the cost and
That's
stuff.
oh great. Good luck. When are you launching?
So mine, it's taking forever for the artwork. That's the only
Yes,
problem. Uh,
that's one thing. I'd be patient because
I started this project back in July of last year.
oh
So
wow.
June, July, somewhere around there.
Hmm.
And supposedly all the artwork will be finished at the end of March.
Okay. Well,
So
you better get funded then.
yeah, I hope so. It's been very painful, very
No,
slow process.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's
just hoping that the next issue, like we've hammered out a lot of stuff, so I'm hoping that
mhm.
like if it does well enough to go to a second issue, then it'll be a quicker process. So
Good. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
yeah,
It'll
yeah,
be fun. You're gonna basically feel like you have a second job once you start. Well, you're partnering up, so it'll be a lot easier for you.
yeah. No,
But
he's
it's
doing a
like
lot
you
of
have a
the
second job.
he's doing a lot of the work in terms of all I'm doing is going to be promoting it through my channel and maybe
Hmm.
begging other channels to interview me for like similar
Yes.
to what you're doing. I mean, by
Yep.
the way, speaking of which, I was going to ask if would you want to do some interviews on other channels? Like I
Sure.
can
Yeah.
maybe hook you up with a couple people that would be willing to interview you.
Any time you can promote, I can promote. I'm all up for it.
Yeah, because I know a few
I
people that are really good at like they like the independent people and they love doing these kind of interviews. So you
Yeah,
might want to.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely be in. I and as learning as it goes, I was talking to another comic book creator, and I was like, I had a disagreement, and I was like, well, you go on these shows, and she said that's all. She doesn't go to con. She just does these shows like this. And I thought, boy, I said, it seems like you do better at the shows, and I said, boy, you only do. If I go on a show, I might get, if I'm lucky, I'll get two backers. But I'd say average per show only one backer. And she said, well,
Hmm.
I do about 40 shows a month.
Oh wow,
It was, well, so that's
that
like
adds up pretty
40
quick.
backers. So I was like, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. So I like tripled the shows that I reached out. Now, a lot of times people don't respond, but it's all about, and for the mailing list, they say you only get about 2% of people from your mailing list. Well, you just got to get a bigger
Yeah,
mailing list,
yeah.
so
That's. I mean, I'm like in my day job, I'm a marketing guy, so
there you go.
it's all about the math.
Yes.
You hit more numbers,
Yep.
and there is a bit of a snowball effect where after a while, if enough people start seeing you, and there's sort of like almost like a weird buzz that happens,
Hmm.
then you'll get sort of like a little bit more of an effect every time you do an interview. People will be like, "Ah, I
Yeah.
know that guy. I've seen him before," and and they will start to be like, hey, I should really check it out this time. And
Absolutely, yeah.
so yeah.
I was watching an interview, like, Five Guys. The burgers are okay; they're sloppy burgers, but the imagery, they've got that, that logo, that image that is just ingrained in
Mhm.
your brain, and so you go there. So yeah, a lot of it
Mhm.
is quality of books is important, but it's just as important because I'm sure, as you know, for someone like me, they're backing me. They're not backing the book. It's you that you're promoting, really, because they don't know
Mhm.
your book or anything about you. So
Yeah.
it's all about the promoting and the marketing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, your book goes live March 5th, right?
Yeah, yep. And there's
So
some really cool videos on there too.
yeah, so anyone that's watching this video, please go to the links in the description. And so if they go over there now, what will happen? What will they see?
It's just the image of the alpha dogs, and you hit the notify me button, and
Okay.
then that's all it is. It's just the page. No, not much more
It's
than
sort of
that.
like
A
just sort
little
of like
more.
a sign up to be notified, right?
Yeah. So you're not putting any money in. You're just hitting the notify me button, and when I go live, you can go and you'll watch the video. You'll see some pages, and even if you're not interested in the comic, the videos alone are so good. The
Hmm.
guys at Stone Tower Studio put together just. I would put my videos for my alpha dogs against anybody else's, even
Hmm.
Marvel's. I wanted when I watched Watchmen, the motion
Hmm.
comic book, which,
Yeah,
my
I've seen
opinion,
that.
is
It's
the
really
best
good.
rendering of Watchmen. is
Yeah,
that
it's
lot?
really
Is
good. I
that
really enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes, the motion comic was so good, and I thought, man, if I make a trailer, that's what I'm doing. So that's
Hmm.
how the Alpha Dogs has got moving images and stuff. It's great, and so even if the comic stinks, the video
So
is
yeah,
awesome.
so my point is, like, anyone that's watching this, go over there, just sign up. There's no cost to it.
Exactly.
You'll get a cool video at the end of the day at least. And then if you
Yeah.
really like it, you can get some cool comics as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then when you go there to hit the link, you can go back and look at my past Kickstarters for Alpha Dogs. Right now, you can watch the trailers for issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I can tell you right now, if it doesn't get you excited for the comic,
Mhm.
then I'm out of ideas because the trailers are great, and you can actually look at the Dexter Detective 1, 2, and 3 that I've done, and those comics
Mhm.
have really gotten a groundswell as well, and that's a great series, totally different than Alpha Dogs, but just as good. And you can find me on Kickstarter and Facebook and see reviews and stuff.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna wrap it up just because if we go too long, uh, you know, by this point nobody's watching anymore. But
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
kind of
I
want
think
to
20 minutes is a
yeah,
good
yeah,
20,
yeah.
30 minutes is a good
So,
number.
and I appreciate everyone that is watching up to this point. I really do recommend Alpha Dogs. It's a good read. It's fun. It's actually well written, which is a big thing nowadays that a lot of the comics don't do. so, um, so I do appreciate it. And I recommend go over there and just give this guy a little bit of love to buy a couple of his books. So, yeah. So thanks again for coming on the show. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up completely?
Not much other than thank you very much for having me on. You have a lot of watchers, so it's always great to come on. It always helps. And
Mhm.
yeah, just check out the comic if you like original indies, not something you've ever seen before with great artwork. You're going to enjoy Alpha Dogs.
Okay. Thanks again. Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.